Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Daniel Weichman. The Hazleton City Police arrested a woman on Saturday for allegedly stealing a vehicle out of New York. According to officers, at approximately 3:31 p.m. on June 17th, they received a notification from their flock camera system that revealed an NCIC hit for a stolen Pennsylvania registration. The Luzerne County Communications Center confirmed that it was stolen. Officers had observed the vehicle traveling east on Broad Street, where they began their pursuit. However, the driver began driving erratically. The driver had failed to stop and flee officers after they activated their emergency lights, where eventually the pursuit led officers to Beaver Meadows. The driver, Amy R. Gancio, had crashed into 4 vehicles, one of which was occupied. Gancio was taken into custody, where officers had then located narcotics and paraphernalia within the stolen vehicle. Gancio is being charged with fleeing and eluding, receiving stolen property, drug charges, and several traffic offenses. The Hazleton Fire Department was dispatched on Friday, June 16th, to the 600 block of North Church Street for a motor vehicle accident. Upon arrival, emergency crews found one person taken from the accident to the hospital for injuries. Firefighters had assisted with the cleanup of the vehicle accident and were able to clear the scene shortly after. At this time, there is no word on how that accident happened in Hazleton. The Hazleton City Police arrested a wanted man on June 17th near the CVS in Hazleton. According to a press release, Hazleton City Police officers had received a tip about a possible wanted male in the area of CVS at 70 South Locust Street. Once arriving, officers had located a man that matched the description provided and made contact, identifying the male as John Harris. Harris was allegedly wanted by the Pennsylvania State Police for indecent assault involving a person less than 13 years old, along with corruption of minors. Harris was arraigned before being denied bail. He was then transported to the Luzerne County Correctional Facility. A man was arrested by Wilkes-Barre City Police for riding an ATV and almost hitting a pedestrian. According to officers, while they were on patrol, they observed a man riding an ATV in the area of Market Street and Wilkes-Barre Boulevard. When officers had activated their emergency lights and sirens to pull the driver over, the man fled at a high rate of speed towards Cole Street. The driver then proceeded to drive onto the sidewalk, almost hitting a pedestrian as he drove away. Due to the danger that the pursuit had posed, it was called off. It wasn't until later that the investigation led officers to 24 Dower Lane, where an officer observed a man with the same clothing as the rider who fled. They also noticed tire tracks along the residence. The suspect, 36-year-old John Devine, had fled into his home and refused to come out. Officers initiated a search warrant and were able to take Devine into custody. The Hanover Township Police Department is searching for a man that had fled from a traffic stop in 2019. 33-year-old Clifton Blake of Plymouth was pulled over on West End Road in July of 2019 when officers had attempted a traffic stop. Blake had then fled from police. A warrant has been issued for his arrest that includes charges of fleeing or attempting to elude an officer, escape, resisting arrest, and tampering with or fabricating physical evidence. If you know the whereabouts of Blake, please contact your local police. The Luzerne County 911 Center opened its doors to the public over the weekend, celebrating its 25th year in service. We often see the emergency responders at the front lines, police officers, firefighters, and EMS, but we shouldn't forget about the ones on the other end of the line when you call in a dire emergency.
I'm truly proud of my staff. We honored a lot of our staff today, and without them, you could have the best technology, and any leader will tell you without great staff, your job is 10 times harder. So I'm truly blessed and honored to be the director here and to have such a dedicated staff. They truly save lives every day, and we coin them as being the heroes behind the headsets, and that's what they truly are. And it was my pleasure and honor to be able to honor many 25 plus year employees that have been here and dedicated to providing the critical services that we do here every day.
Rosencrantz stated all of the workers at the center are highly trained to deal with emergency situations every day.
Multitasking is important. You have to be able to handle pressure. People don't call us to say hello. They're having the worst experience of their lives typically, experiencing emergencies. and our staff is highly trained and skilled to be able to respond to that and help get the police, fire, and EMS agencies to that call promptly.
Firefighters and EMS responders were also in attendance, as well as local officials such as Luzerne County Manager Romildo Cocamo and Congressman Matt Cartwright. A garage fire called firefighters to the scene in Frackville on Monday morning. The report arrived around 7:43 a.m. in the area of South Line and Chestnut Street. According to officials, the fire was taken under control within 10 minutes. The garage has sustained heavy fire, smoke, and water damage. At this time, a state police fire marshal is investigating the case of the fire. Caitlin Marie Miersky is wanted by the Schuylkill County District Attorney's Office and Schuylkill County detectives for 2 active bench warrants. According to a press release, Miersky had failed to appear for a preliminary hearing on January 11th of this year. The original charges include 2 counts of intentionally possessed controlled substance by person not registered and use possession of drug paraphernalia. Miersky is also declared an absconder from supervision that violate the conditions governing parole. The original charges include 2 counts of terroristic threats with intent to terrorize another and 2 counts of neglect of animals, veterinary care. She is described as being 5 feet 3 inches in height and weighs approximately 150 pounds. Anyone with information on Caitlin Marie Miersky is asked to call the District Attorney's Office at 570-628-3988. In other news, today marks the 2nd annual Juneteenth holiday, a day in which marked the end of the Civil War and the emancipation of enslaved African Americans. We stopped on by the Hazleton Art League, a place notorious for celebrating the accomplishments of people of all backgrounds in our area.
I am standing in front of a painting by one of my favorite artists, an African-American artist by the name of Kelly Brew Mensah. He lives in Los Angeles. And one of the things that is interesting about this painting is that he has an interesting take on pop culture and the African-American experience. For example, we have Batman here represented as a person of African-American descent, and then we have the Mammy figure here, very popular. Also, this figure represents the strong woman, the caregiver, and is an iconic feature in African-American iconography.
Another art piece on display includes an oil painting done by William C. Meyer entitled Meeting in Lombard Street. Juneteenth comes from the anniversary of the order done by Major General Gordon Granger, who proclaimed freedom for enslaved people in Texas on June 19, 1865, 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was made effective in 1863. Coming up on WYLN News, Eckley Miners Village held their annual Patch Down Days event over the weekend. Plus, the Diocese of Scranton is inviting you to attend the ordination for a new priest. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast, brought to you by the WYLN Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow's gonna be cloudy.
We want your child to be our WYLN Weather Kid. Your child can be our feature weather reporter of the day on WYLN News and WYLN social media posts just by using your smartphone or any video recording device. It's easy. All ages are welcome, from toddlers to teens. To find out how, go to the weather site at WYLNTV.com or look for our post about it on the WYLN News Facebook page. Submit your Weather Kid video today.
Your guide to is PTN, the Pocono Television Network. Watch PTN on WYLN.
SJ Kowalski is your Mitsubishi Diamond Contractor. You can install a Mitsubishi Electric Mr. Slim ductless heating and cooling system. Mr. Slim systems are designed to make any living space in your home. You can have a different temperature control for every room in your home. The money-saving technology can save you 25 to 50% on your heating bill. For Mitsubishi, Rinnai, and trained comfort specialists, call S.J. Kowalski at 570-455-2600. There's no better place to shoot than Whitetail Preserve. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicap accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 for more information. Like and follow WYLN News on Facebook for the WYLN News Midday Update. When it's serious, there's only one health network with seriously innovative health institutes. Lehigh Valley Health Network, your health deserves a partner.
Welcome back to WYLN News. The National Sisterhood United for Journeyman Linemen, or NSU-JL, held their annual Climbing for Lost Linemen ceremony and rodeo this weekend. The event is an opportunity for food and fellowship as the community remembers the linemen that have lost their lives on the line during the past year. We spoke with apprentice lineman Ricky Dondero, who told us all about the ways in which linemen serve the community.
So as a lineman, you are eligible to go to work every day and keep the lights on for everyone else. And when the power goes out, we're the guys that show up and get it back on for you.
The event was held at City View Park in Hazleton. Eckley Miners Village was bustling with people this weekend as visitors came to celebrate Patchdown Days. The annual Patchdown Festival embraces the coal region's past and present with live music, food, and drink from around the region and craft vendors demonstrating traditional and modern skills. Project manager Chris Stokeham states that events like Patchdown Days help bring the village to life.
Yeah, well, I think one of the best ways to experience Eckley and to get a sense of what life was like in the coal region is to come on a day like this when the buildings are open, the interpreted structures, you can go inside and see slices of everyday life from the 1890s, the 1940s. You know, there's different class structures that you can get some insight into and really get a feel for what it was like to live here and work in this town. But it's also, you know, I think important to have a lot of people around. At the height of Eckley's population, you would have had about 1,300 or 1,500 people living here, and so on a day when there's only a couple other people on the property, it doesn't feel quite as bustling. This gives you a bit more of a sense of what things were like back in the day.
The Patchtown Festival has been held annually for over 30 years.
Yeah, so Patchdown Days started as an event in the 1980s, the late 1980s, and the date was actually selected because it's in pretty close proximity to what was called the Day of the Rope, or Black Thursday, which is a day on which 10 of the accused participants in the Molly Maguires were executed. And so, you know, that was a sort of monumental turning point in coal history, and so the date was selected for that proximity. It's taken, you know, a number of different forms over the years. Sometimes there's been traditional demonstrations. Increasingly, as we, you know, look forward, we're trying to embrace the wide crafts music that's taking place now. So it's not just, you know, a throwback to but, you know, we're looking at the fact that this is still very much a vital region that has a lot to offer. If you missed the event, Stokeham states that there are other ways to experience the village. If you haven't come out to, obviously, event days, good times to come out and experience it, but the village, dawn to dusk every day, you can walk or drive through town. The museum is open Thursdays through Sundays from 10 to 4, and so, you know, we ask you to please come out, take a look around. You know, it's in addition to being a place where you can learn a lot about anthracite coal heritage, it's also a terrific place to take a walk your dog, do bird watching, just enjoy some peace and quiet. Eckley Miners Village is located at 2 Eckley Main Street in Weatherly. The Diocese of Scranton has announced that they will be holding an ordination for a new priest on Saturday, June 24th. The Cathedral of St. Peter will be the setting as Reverend Mr. Michael J. Boris is ordained to the Order of the Priesthood for service within the Diocese of Scranton. The Most Reverend Joseph C. Bambera, Bishop of Scranton, will be serving as ordaining prelate for the Mass. It will be celebrated at 10 a.m., and the public is welcome and encouraged to come and celebrate. The Luzerne County Historical Society has announced that it will be hosting a brand new walking tour called A Walk in Wilkes-Barre in the area of Abraham Lincoln and the Civil War. The walk will take place on Saturday, June 24th. The walk will be giving attendees a view into downtown Wilkes-Barre in the 1860s and be able to learn about the local movers and shakers who interacted with and often butted heads with President Abraham Lincoln on a regular basis. The tour will begin in front of LCHS Museum, located at 69 South Franklin Street, and will wind its way through the historic downtown district.
The first tour begins at 11 a.m. and continues for each hour until 2 p.m., 4 tours in all. Each tour will last approximately 2 hours and will be held, rain or shine. If you'd like to attend, the tour is $10 per person and limited to 4 people each. Reservations are required. For more information, you can call 570-823-6244. 2 Pennsylvania State Police troopers were shot over the weekend. Trooper Jacques F. Rougeau Jr. was killed and James A. Wagner was wounded in separate encounters with the same shooter.
Our hearts and prayers are with these brave troopers and their families. Their dedication and service to the Commonwealth and its residents will always be remembered.
Lieutenant Wagner is currently listed in critical condition. Coming up on Mountaintops News Choice, Marty Burns talks the evening baseball game on Let's Talk Sports. Plus, some good news for your Monday, where we talk to a local woman battling cancer and what you can do to help. And stay with us for everything else we have lined up for you later tonight on Wyln TV.
If you're looking for an affordable pre-owned car or truck, Chura's Auto Sales has a great lineup of clean, dependable, and quality vehicles. Stop in 610 North Broad Street, West Hazelton, 570-454-7229.
Much has changed over our 75 years, but the thing that never does, the anticipation, the holding of breath until that first green flag drops and the crazy journey begins all over again. If you could travel 75 years from now, you might not recognize much at all, but one thing will never change, that feeling you get when the race begins again. Get your tickets now at PoconoRaceway.com.
When you see news happening in your neighborhood, call WYLN News at 570-459-1869 or email us at news@WYLNTV.com or send us a message on social media through Facebook. WYLN, we're your local network.
Your guide to everything Pocono Mountains is PTN, the Pocono Television Network. Tune in and see all the unique places to stay and things to do in the Pocono Mountains. Watch PTN on WYLN.
Are you looking for the latest local news and events important to our Hispanic community? WYLN will keep you up to date on what's happening, from breaking news to special reports and local events, on our new daily Spanish language webcast, WYLN's Telediario, featuring me, Julia Wiegand. Follow our social media pages and website at WYLNTV.com every day to access WYLN's Telediario webcast. WYLN, we're your local network.
PPW Nation, get ready for the best of PPW Season 2. Join Paul Bowe, E. Julius Kuiper, Alexander Bravado, Tom Mitchell, and Alex Watt as we take you down memory lane and relive some of the best PPW matches of all time. Saturdays at 5 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., only on WYLN.
WYLN programming is online all the time. Visit our website at WYLNTV.com to check out archive shows and a live stream of our broadcasts. And don't forget to visit all of our social media pages for breaking news, weather, and sports. Head directly to our YouTube page for all our programming at youtube.com/WYLNTV35. Subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every time there's a new show available online.
Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Sports, brought to you by the Lehigh. Got a big matchup coming up, interleague play tonight in Houston. They welcome Max Scherzer and the New York Mets to Houston in a big matchup as the Astros look to try to get atop of the AL West. The Mets trying to get their season back on level ground. They're going to have a tough series in Houston, but no better way to start it than with Scherzer. And let's welcome will be tomorrow night as former Astros pitcher, part of some World Series teams, Justin Verlander will toe the rubber one more time, but this time wearing a Mets hat and jersey. How will the fans of Houston welcome Justin Verlander in what is a very key series, especially for the Mets, starting tonight in Houston? We'll be back tomorrow for another edition of Let's Talk Sports, brought to you as always by the Lehigh Valley Orthopedic Institute.
SJ Kowalski is your Mitsubishi Diamond contractor. They can install a Mitsubishi electric Mr. Slim ductless cooling system. Mr. Slim systems are designed to make any living space in your home inviting. You can have a different temperature control for every room in your home. The money-saving technology can save you 25 to 50% on your heating bill. For Mitsubishi, Renai, and trained comfort specialists, call SJ Kowalski at 570-455-2600.
Much has changed over our 75 years, but the thing that never does, the anticipation, the holding of breath until that first green flag drops and the crazy journey begins all over again. If you could travel 75 years from now, you might not recognize much at all, but one thing will never change. The feeling you get when the race begins again. Get your tickets now at PoconoRaceway.com.
Hello, I'm Wyln historian Chris Fulmer. Pennsylvania's communities are filled with interesting history. Come with me as we discover the people, events, industries, and other historic facets of local towns.
There's no better place to shoot than Whitetail Preserve. Their trap and sporting clay fields are professionally designed. Regions are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater to any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 for more information. Do you like craft beer? Do you want to learn the right way to sample wine? How about checking out a restaurant with a unique flavor or a crazy food challenge? These are just some of the things we are featuring on Wine, Hops, and So, time learning about great wine, great beer, and great food on WYLN TV 35.
When loved ones are sick, most people will send flowers or cards, but one local family is giving the gift of blood. 2 blood drives will be held this summer in honor of Abby Valentine, a local cancer patient. Valentine was diagnosed last year with a type of leukemia, which she said came as a bit of a shock.
So in July of 2022, 2 months before I was supposed to get married, my fiance at the time and I went to the ER because I was having these headaches that would just not go away. I was getting these intense migraines. So we took a trip to the ER and I requested blood work because I hadn't had it done in a while. And I thought maybe there's something else going on. I'm glad I did, because the blood work showed that my white blood cell count was extremely high. And they told me that I had leukemia. And I was like, no, that can't, like, that's true. Like, that can't be me. So they redid blood work just as a precaution, and it did turn out that I have ALL, which is acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
Valentine said she was in the hospital for about 2 weeks and soon started chemotherapy. In August of 2022, she went to remission but continued doing maintenance treatments. Then in December of 2022, a bone marrow transplant to try and keep the cancer at bay.
So I had, my sister was my donor, and they took her cells and then infused them into my body so that way her cells would take over and I wouldn't have any existing cancer cells. So that was in December. And then just this past May, some of the cells mutated and I relapsed, so I have cancer again. So instead of people just telling me to be positive or to be strong all the time, I wanted them to put that effort into action. And some of my family members just had the idea of, hey, let's do a blood drive in honor of Abby because she's constantly getting blood transfusions and we can help other people like her. So that sparked the idea.
Throughout her treatment, Valentine said she has been the recipient of many blood transfusions and blood products, and that she's experienced firsthand the difference that they can make.
Grateful for everyone that has taken the action to work towards these blood drives to donate blood. And even if you can't donate blood, that's okay. If the thought is there, then that's what counts, and I'm just very thankful for that.
Valentine encourages anyone who is willing to donate blood during one of the summer blood drives being held in her honor.
To be honest, I've only donated blood maybe once or twice in my life. It was just never really on my radar. But since being diagnosed with blood cancer and getting constant blood transfusions, platelet transfusions, and all the different procedures, I clearly see how much one person's donation can make a difference. So that's why if I could give blood now, I would, but I can't. So I appreciate everybody that has ever done it or will do it.
The first blood drive will be on Monday, July 17th from 1:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Citizens Fire Company in Weatherly. But if you missed that one, they'll be holding a second blood drive on Tuesday, August 22nd from 1:15 p.m. to 6:15 p.m. at Holy Rose Church in Hazleton. Anyone interested in donating blood can 1-800-RED-CROSS.
And that does it for the news. Remember, the source matters more than ever. Catch all the latest news and updates on our Facebook, YouTube, or at WYLNTV.com. Stay with us. A look at today's weather is next, right here on WYLN TV.